Zone TV. Another day and another preview. We are previewing Chelsea versus West Ham United. And I've got to my right, West Ham Online. How are you, mate?
Very good. It's good to be back on the channel after being away. It's good to be back and talking West Ham.
What did you think of Wednesday night's performance before we get started?
I thought overall it was very encouraging. I thought the first 10 minutes were poor. In fact, I thought the first half was decent and only decent. Second half was very, very good. I thought we'd done very well. I'd say on the reflection of the game, we probably deserved to win. But I didn't think Tottenham were very good either.
Yeah, I was quite shocked by them. All the hype about them. And I didn't see a top four or like side there. Like one thing I will never forget what you said. You turned around and you said to me about 3-4 weeks ago, and we had a big debate on it on the channel. And me and you agreed that Spurs like to grind out games, and top four sides don't grind out games. They go through teams and just put them away. And I must admit, I see that on Wednesday night with them. I really did. But I did think we was good though. I was quite shocked with us in the second half. I couldn't believe how we didn't win that game. Do you know what I mean? So, do you know what I'm saying? Richard says, Jim has opened up his side bedroom love room for Kehrer. Listen, mate, don't knock Saeed, mate. He's all right, son. To me, there's love for everyone on this channel. There's love for everyone. Chelsea, the weekend. You're going. What are you expecting?
Yes, I'm very excited to go. First of all, I'm going with Mitch. First time meeting Mitch, which will be great. But in terms of the game, I'm expecting another good performance. I've not been very impressed with Chelsea lately. I think if there's any time to play at Stamford Bridge, it would be now. I don't think that their atmosphere is going to be that great because Chelsea fans haven't got a lot to cheer about at the moment. I think we can take advantage of it, if I'm honest.
I've got to be honest. I think it's the best time to play Chelsea. To be truly honest, their signings have just come in. They ain't going to have time to bed in straight away. I think we could hit them while they're cold, really. What do you make of Chelsea so far this year? Me and you have got the bet of Chelsea and Arsenal, and I'm sitting there thinking, what is going on? But hopefully they turn it around after after Saturday. Do you know what I'm saying?
I've got to admit, before I pick myself up a bit, I've got the Leicester one quite bad at the moment, and I've seen Brendan Rodgers' comments today, and they were embarrassing. But in regards to Chelsea, I got them pretty much spot on, in my opinion. I've expected this bad form from Chelsea. I don't think they're that good, and I think the main reason for that is a lack of focal point, a lack of goals in the team. I don't like Kai Havertz. I don't think he's a very good player. Certainly not as a number 9 or a false 9 in a possession-based team. And I expected this. I looked at Chelsea's team at the start of the season. I saw a few people saying that they could challenge the title. I couldn't see it at all. I didn't even predict them to come in the top 4. I did sort of expect this.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, I didn't. I thought Chelsea might come good this year. Like I think they the signings that they've made late. Like they signed a lad from Juventus, they signed a Banging back, which you can, whatever way you look at it, they need a centre forward, and he knows the Premier League. So, yeah. What are you expecting from them against us though on Saturday?
Chelsea, I'm expecting they're going to want to bounce back. They've not been very good lately, as I said.
Yeah.
But I'm expecting them not to offer too much in terms of chance creation. I don't think they're going to get loads of chances. I think they're going to have the majority of the ball. Tuchel's sides tend to have a lot of the ball. But I think we could catch them on the counter. I really think we could.
What do you think in regards of, and obviously we'll talk about it a little while about the systems and all that, but on Wednesday night I think we see about 3 different systems, didn't we? We see 4-3-3, 3-4-3, and I think it was like towards the end it was just 4-2-4. I think it was. Like, what did you think of the systems on Wednesday, going into
Well,
Saturday.
I've got to admit, I loved it. I love the fact that we seem to be in our last 2 or 3 games, especially this one, the Viable game. We've been switching in game depending on the situation, and it makes us unpredictable. I love it. It's much different to what we were offering with the 4-2-3-1. It's very unpredictable in terms of who's going to pop up in each area. We see Fornal was playing out wide as a wing back at times. Then he was coming inside. Benny was playing as the central player. Then he was going out wide. Sufal at times was the highest player on the pitch on the right hand side, and Byron was inside. So I really enjoyed it. I really think it makes us very unpredictable, especially in the early days of using the system, because teams won't have a lot of evidence to use in terms of analysing us yet.
I agree. I don't like the sort of 5 at the back. If they was to play like a flat 3 and then a 4 in midfield, then I could go with that. But 9 times out of 10, West Ham are defending quite a lot. Like, against Spurs, I was quite shocked how it just seemed just to come all together. But then saying that, we see Souček playing very, very well on Wednesday night. He's got to go forward now and progress. Like, that was his benchmark on Wednesday. What did you think of him Wednesday night?
I thought it was the Souček we saw in 2021, and to be honest, I forgot that he could play like that. His passing was good. He kept it simple, didn't give the ball away a lot, kept his passing simple and wasn't over complacent in possession. And then he was great in both boxes. That's the Souček we want to see. And I think by using this hybrid of systems, we can sort of hide his weaknesses a bit more, because we've got so many players who are technically good, like Benrahma and Fornals and Paqueta and Rice all playing at once.
What did you think of Paqueta? Like, and should Paqueta really be involved against Chelsea from the start?
I would start him. I don't think we will, but I would. I thought he looked decent. It was only 20 odd minutes. I definitely think, I know people don't like saying about this settling in and all of that, but I did think there was a little bit of rust in some areas, which I think over time he'll improve on. And I think that's why he got the card as well. Maybe he does have to adjust to the pace of the game. It is quicker, but he will get there. He'll definitely get there. And his quality in possession is obvious.
The thing is with him is whose position is he going to take? If he does start, I'd love him to start on Saturday. Don't get me wrong. I think it's the perfect game for him. London derby again. He's away from home. I know Chelsea are going to have a lot of the ball, but West Ham needs someone who can hold on to the ball and all. Do you know what I mean? I don't think we've got really a lot of people who can hold on to the ball like he can. I must admit, I was thoroughly impressed with him on Wednesday night. Even though I see a bit of him, and I do agree with you, the rust side of it is a factor, because when I was just watching, I wasn't watching the game, I was watching him, and he was running into positions, he didn't know where to go. So I can understand that. But for me, I would start him. I really would. Like, let him loose. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think you're going to learn much from him against SW6 or whatever it is next week, but you might learn quite a lot from him against Chelsea away. Do you know what I'm saying? With someone like.
Yeah, I completely get that. I think I'd rather see him and judge my opinion on him based on how he does in the Premier League, not in Europe. I think he should. I wouldn't mind starting him. I wouldn't mind. I think that's a bit. I would like to start him, should I say? But at the same time, I wouldn't drop Fornals because he's been playing like as the left wing back sort of player. So I don't think it's like for like him and Paqueta. And then at the same time, I don't really think Benny deserves to be dropped because he's been playing really well. So either way, Moyes will get moaned at. If he drops Benny for Paqueta, he'll get moaned at. If Paqueta plays, he'll get moaned at. But I'd like to see Paqueta, but I'm not too bothered if he don't start because Benny deserves to play as well.
Do you think it will be Benny whose place he will take, or do you think Fornals' place is under threat a little bit?
I think if we continue with this system, it will be Benny because Fornals has been playing as the left wing back. He's very good off the ball. Obviously, Paqueta's not going to play left wing back. Benrahma can't do that either. Yeah. And we was speaking about Souček the past few weeks. Could he be a player that gets dropped for Paqueta? But obviously, after how he played the other night, there's just no way. So Yeah, I think if it's anyone, it will be Bennett.
Yeah. Thing is, for me, like, I see the people in the chat saying like about Fornals. I don't really want Fornals as a left wing back because I just don't think he's got the pace. I know Chelsea are going to come with that 3-4-3, and I know like Cucurella will probably be on one side. I don't know about Reece James. I don't know whether Reece James is fit or not. He didn't play last week, and obviously during the week they lost against Southampton from 1-0 up.
I've
Now
not seen that. Is he unfit or can we
he,
get
well,
someone in the chat?
he wasn't fit because he wasn't in my he was in my dream team. And I looked and he didn't get me no points. He wasn't even in the starting lineup or starting 19.
That would be a big bonus, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So how do we counter that 3-4-3 on Saturday against them? Because I feel with if Cresswell's not fit, then we've got a bit of a problem at the back for me.
I think if Creswell's not fit, we'll start Ogbonna as a left centre back. He did look a bit rusty. You've been saying it for a while, but he did look a bit rusty the other night. But I hope that he can do okay as a left centre back. One thing is that I'm positive about is we have struggled playing against three-back teams during Moyes' time at West Ham. But the other night we played Spurs, who played a 3-4-3, and we looked very, very good. We completely got their system. Chelsea play a bit different because Spurs are more of a transition-based team. Chelsea like to keep the ball, so it'll be very different in that regard. But I definitely think there's weaknesses in Chelsea's game that we can get at.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I really am. Let's start off then with this. Chelsea's main danger man, West Ham Online. I think I know what you're going to say. Enlighten me.
Well, now I don't know if he's fit after what you said, but if he's fit, I'm going to have to say Reece James. I think he's phenomenal. He really is as a wing back. He's been Chelsea's best player for about a year and a half now. He's very, very good at everything. He's an amazing wing back. He's good at shooting. He assists goals. His passing is very good. He's strong defensively. So if Reece James is fit, then he's the player I'll be looking at. As I said, he's good at everything.
Well, he wasn't the player that I was thinking of. My player that I'm worried about is Sterling.
Yeah.
Sterling's the one that I think is underrated, really, for what he does do. One thing with West Ham, what they've got to deal with on Saturday is, yet again, balls over the top and down the sides for Sterling to run onto, and that pace factor. I noticed it on Wednesday night against Spurs. Amount of times we got very, very lucky in situations where balls were going down the side or over the top, and a bad sort of touch, a better touch from Son, and I think he's in on goal and he scores, if I'm being honest. So we've got to counter Sterling. Obviously, if Cresswell's not fit and we're playing free at the back, then we've got a bit of a problem there because I don't think Ogbonna can do it. I really don't. Not for 90 minutes, and especially not against pace. I think to bring him on for the last 10 minutes, he can handle that. Like you can do that sort of job, but against these sort of other players, then I'm a bit concerned. So for me, Raheem is the man that I think we've got to stop. If we can stop the balls fed into him, then I think we're laughing. But let's bring in Jackie boy.
Hello.
How you doing, Jack? Hope you're good, man.
I'm good. I'm just going through the Spurs match, actually. But yeah, good.
No worries, mate. Jack, talk to me about Chelsea's main danger man for Saturday, mate.
Well, it's got to be Sterling at the moment, right?
Yeah.
Also, I don't know. Do we know if Reece James is fit at this point?
He is fit,
that's
mate.
what we just discussed. If Reece James is fit, then that's the player I'm worried about.
Yeah, I would agree. If Reece James is fit, he would be the player I'm most worried about. If not, Sterling, definitely.
How do you assess Chelsea this year, Jack? For you?
A bit of a weird one. I think it's difficult to see what the strategy is in terms of the signings. It's difficult to see what direction they want to move in. I'm not sure they know what their best team is at the moment. I'm not even sure they know what their best system is at the moment. So they can be, I imagine, for the club this week, for Moyes and team, it'll be quite difficult because it's difficult to say who will play and what roles they'll play in, which makes them quite challenging to set up or prepare for.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. Right, lads. We say Sterling. So how do we stop him?
How would you stop Sterling? I mean, it depends entirely on what role he plays. So if they play a back three and you have Loftus-Cheek and Reece James operating on the right side, then the emphasis changes slightly. It depends who then goes through the middle. Havertz has sometimes been more of a focal point, and Sterling may be playing a little bit more off the shoulder. Or it may be the case that they play. I mean, last week they had so many creative players on the pitch at once that Sterling, I think, probably almost had to become more of a focal point for the team. So, and then it also, conversely depends on how we play, whether we play with a four at the back and entrust one centre back with dealing with him more man to man, or whether we play a three at the back and take a more zonal approach to dealing with their forwards.
I'm with you on that. I just think with Sterling, I think he's the key to the whole thing. I think Havertz we can deal with, because I think he hasn't really got the pace factor for me. It's Sterling's the one with the balls over the top and down the sides. I think Zuma, to me, don't look like he's got that sort of pace back since that injury that he had last year. I don't know. That might be just me, but when I look at Kehrer, I think if Kehrer can stay man to man with this geezer, then we might have half a chance of stopping Sterling. West Ham Online, what do you think on that?
I think the thing with Sterling is he's played numerous positions this year for Chelsea already. Everton, at times he was the focal point, and at times he was out wide on the left. But we've also seen him on the right, inverted, with Reece James out wide or Loftus-Cheek. Sterling, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated players in the league. He puts up consistent numbers. He can stand up a defender and take them on and put a ball into the box. We saw that many times last year. We saw it on the final day when City won the league. But the best thing about Sterling is, although his finishing isn't very good at times, his movement in the box is brilliant. You always find him in the right positions for a cutback, or he's a player who is capable, as I said, of producing the cutback himself. If he is playing as more of if he's playing in the front three, but or to the right or the left, then I'm worried. If he's the focal point, I'm not that worried, because that's not what Sterling's game is. Chelsea need to get him chances in the box, or they need to get him one-on-one with Cresswell or Soufal. Actually, Cresswell's not playing, so maybe Ogbonna. If Ogbonna's playing, they need to get him one-on-one with him, because he'll beat them for pace every time. Phenomenal player, Sterling. We just need to limit the amount of space he gets in the box, and if he gets the ball out wide, we need to make sure we double up on him and Reece James, because we can't afford for Ogbonna or whoever plays to get left with them two at once.
Do you think that it'd be better? I'll ask you this, Jack. Yeah. Do you think it'd be better to push them players out wide so they're looking to cross the ball in rather than try and go through the middle, West Ham?
In terms of encouraging Chelsea to funnel their production wide, yes. I mean, that's always what you want to do. If you're talking about Chelsea crossing and then therefore having someone like Zuma in the middle of the box to deal with anything that comes in, that's always what you want to do. That's always what West Ham will look to do. The difficulty is as West Ham Online just said, I think if Sterling plays in a similar sort of role to the role that Son sometimes plays for Spurs, it can be very difficult to push that player wide, because they're often driving in off the flank all the time.
Yeah, I hear you, mate. I hear you. Well, lads, let's talk about this then. 3-4-3 or 4-3-3. If there's no Cresswell, Jack, how do we go around this with a three at the back?
I've been talking about this today, actually. I think if Cresswell's out, then Ogbonna probably comes in. And the question is over whether you play Ogbonna on the left side of that three and continue with the more hybrid 3/4 with Fornals at left wing back, so it can change dependent on whether you're on the ball or off the ball. So Fornals playing left wing back when you're defending and playing left midfield when you're attacking, and Ogbonna therefore playing centre back or left back in the game. The question over that is, I think you saw against Spurs, Richarlison had quite a lot of joy against Ogbonna when 1v1. So I think it may be the case that if that was to happen, Ogbonna might go into the middle and Zuma might come out to the left. But then you're probably playing a flatter back five, kind of like what we saw against Aston Villa, which would be a more defensive, low block approach. And Emerson probably comes into the team in that case. So it depends entirely on how you want to play, whether you think the right thing to do is to go and press Chelsea and potentially leave your centre-backs exposed at times, or whether it's to drop off a little bit further and look to counter-attack.
For me, with a Bonner, before I bring West Ham Online in, I just don't think he's ready. Not for Prem. I looked at him the other day, and I agree with you. Richarlison just strolled past him, and I know Richarlison's quite quick, and I know Bonner's not a slouch, but if Bonner's fully fit and not recovering from a big injury, then maybe he might have caught up with it a little bit. But for me, I just feel that if we put a Bonner in there, then we're asking for it, really. We will have to push Chelsea wide. There's no choice about it, because if Chelsea go through the middle and Raheem's on him, Raheem's going to just do him every time for pace. So I'm a bit worried about Bonner coming in. I think for conference football, I think he's ideal, because it's just a slower game. I think he can control the game a bit better. And let's be honest, we're going to have a lot more of the ball in certain games, so it ain't really affecting him. But in this game, I do fear this one for him. I really do. I think it's just not the right team for a Bonner to play, I don't think, especially with all their pace merchants that they've got. West Ham Online, what do you think in regards of Bonner in a back three?
I think personnel-wise, on paper, he'd easily be the best player to stick in, but I have to agree. I think he looks really rusty. You said you watched him in the under-23s a while ago, a few weeks ago.
I did.
And he looked really rusty. And I must admit, all Richarlison really had to do the other night was dummy it or try and take a Bonner on, and it didn't look too hard for him. I love Bonner. I agree he's more suited to the conference football at the moment, because he doesn't look like he's lost any of his ability in possession. But at the moment, he looks a bit slow. He does look a bit slow. He looks a bit off the pace. And if he does get sucked into those roles where at times he's going to have to play in a flat back four as a left back, then Chelsea, let's be honest, will see that as a weakness. And they might pinpoint him with Sterling and Reece James, and then they can provide overlaps and underlaps and catch Bonner out. So I am a bit worried about Bonner, but personnel-wise, he is the natural player to play in there. I don't want to see us sitting off, unfortunately, so he's going to have to deal with this. I think we should look to press Chelsea when we can. Leeds done it, and let's be honest, they punished Chelsea on multiple occasions. Mendy's looked very poor under pressure, especially lately. And I would like to see us try and take the game to Chelsea in terms of, we know they're going to have the ball, but I'd like to see us press them in the right way when they get the ball around the back four, back three, and especially when Mendy has the ball.
So if they do go, for argument's sake though, Jack, if West Ham do set up as a 4-3-3, can that cause Chelsea some damage, really? Or because this 3-4-3, we do struggle against teams who play 3-4-3 every time we play them.
Although saying that, we did a very good job against Spurs, who played that system, and that's because of the adaptations in the way that we press. I think if you play a 4-3-3, for argument's sake, potentially you do get a little bit exposed out wide if you want to press with 1v1s against the fullbacks. I think sometimes that can be very difficult to manage in terms of therefore then controlling the half spaces, because as you see against Man City, for example, you're forced to commit very high with the fullbacks. The fullbacks have to be very aggressive to support any kind of pressure. And that can sometimes lead to spaces between the centre-back and the fullback that can be exploited quite well. It all really depends on how you want to play. I think if you're going to play the 4-3-3, you want to control the ball a little bit better. And when you win the ball back, maybe play a little bit slower rather than attacking super quick. If you play the 3-4-3, then you can press similarly to how we did against Spurs, be very intense on the centre backs and the goalkeeper, and then attack very quickly once you win the ball back.
See, the thing is, I look at this game, I think Chelsea are there for the taking. I think if there's a time to play Chelsea, the time is really now. I look at this game and I feel that if we do sit off Chelsea, we could have another situation where we had the other night, where we're sitting off or we're waiting to attack. And if they score, don't get me wrong, Wednesday night, we was very, very good in that second half. I can't question anything. And I think Moyes got his sort of tactics absolutely spot on at the right times, changing the players, the subs, everything. So, listen, I'll give him full credit for that. But against Chelsea, I think Southampton done a job on them from a goal down. Spurs didn't play great against Chelsea, and they managed to get something. And even Leicester the other week was like pushing them back, even against 10 men. So I look at this game. I don't know about you lads, and I will get to like predictions before we wrap this up. I feel Chelsea can be beat at the Bridge. I really do. And if we are positive about this and go at them, I'd rather West Ham set up positive from the start rather than setting up sort of in a not a negative way, but a containing way and hoping to sort of do something in the later end of the game. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel on that. West Ham Online. What about you?
I completely agree. I think this is the best point to play Chelsea. I like to look at football, especially away games, and the sort of opposition we're playing from an emotional standpoint as well. And Tuchel, as a manager, strikes me as someone when everything's going well, he's a great guy to have because he's inspirational. His tactics are obviously brilliant. He won Chelsea the Champions League. But when things are low and things aren't going well, he's not afraid to speak his mind. And things can go wrong. We saw it at Paris Saint-Germain. And for me, I said it before the season, I'm going to reiterate it. I don't think Chelsea are in a good space at all. I think the recruitment's been weird. I think the ideas behind the recruitment has been a bit weird. I don't get why they didn't go for a focal point up front. And I'm not going to go on about Aubameyang because I think he's finished in the Premier League in terms of what Chelsea need. Havertz isn't good enough. Chelsea needed a real number 9. And it will probably be Havertz tomorrow, who isn't good enough anymore. I think the recruitment ideas were weird. They just seem to want all the centre-backs in the world, which is fine because they're going to play back 3. But as I say, I don't want to ramble on, but I don't think Aubameyang was the right signing. They need a real number 9. And I do think Tuchel's losing the dressing room a little bit. Everything just seems a little bit off for me at Chelsea at the moment. And I've seen it in the fan base as well. I think it's a great time to play them.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on to the final bit of this preview. Jack, 2 questions for you, mate. First one, I want you to predict the starting 11 for West Ham United, if you can. And then give me your prediction for Saturday's game, mate.
I think I'd go with the same 11 that played against Spurs with Ogbonna in for Cresswell. And then I think I had this penned from the beginning of the season as the game that I would have been targeting for a positive result, even though it on paper looks like a difficult one. So I would be hopeful that we can at least get a draw in this match. So I'd say maybe 1-1.
1-1 for you. West Ham Online.
In terms of the 11, I think it will be Ogbonna in for Cresswell and the rest will be the same. I wouldn't mind, obviously, to see Paqueta come in for Benrahma, but I can understand why he wouldn't at the same time. Prediction-wise, I completely agree. It's a time to take a positive result from Chelsea. They aren't in a good space. It's the best time to play them. I want to say we'll win, but I just don't think we will. I'm going to go for a draw, and I'm going to go 1-1.
I called 1-1 the other day. So a Spurs preview, and I called 1-0 the other day, so I can't go 1-0. I think we beat them. I really do. And I'd say the reason why. I think West Ham are going to set up to try and contain Chelsea to a point, and frustrate them. And then as the game goes on, I think if we can get to sort of the 60-minute mark and we're still in the game, that's when I think Moyes will go for it. I think we might nick this game 1-0. I think West Ham, I think Kehrer, for me, has been an absolute sensation signing. Like, just as a bloke, I just fucking love the geezer. But I do feel that West Ham will set up to contain Chelsea to a point. And then the game last year ended up 1-0 in the 94th minute when Pulisic scored. And it was we contained them for such a long time. I think if we can score first in this game, we win this game. I think Chelsea will be all over the place. So for me, I'm going to go for a 1-0 win. West Ham. I agree with Jack. I think it's the same team that plays Wednesday with Cresswell out, Ogbonna in. I do fear for Ogbonna, but I'm just hoping it's the right time for him to come in and put in a masterclass. Do you know what I'm saying? But for me, I'm going to go for a 1-0 win. I really am. So, yeah. Jack, I really appreciate you coming on, mate. Thank
You're
you very
welcome.
much. Cheers, man. West Ham Online, also, thank you very much.
No problem. No problem.
Good man. Please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Getting the numbers up slowly but surely with West Ham Online. Lucas and the rest of the lads getting there slowly. Also, go and check out Jack on his stuff. Jack, plug your stuff before we go, mate.
You can find me on Analytics United. That's analyticsutd_ on Twitter. Full match reviews, player ratings, performance review, tactics, everything kind of data and analytics on West Ham there every week. Yeah.
Go and check Jack out, mate. He knows what he's talking about. I've met Jack through doing the spaces, and listen, there's not a lot of West Ham fans know what they're talking about, but Jack, he's one of them who actually does know what they're talking about, so I'll give him his credit. Anyway, have a good Friday, and I'll be back again to do a video in the next one. Take care. Bye.
There it is. I've never found a love like this.